federal judge ruled this week that top EPA leaders must answer questions and provide details about whether they used personal email accounts to conduct official business and avoid having to make public disclosures required by law. Republican Senator David Vitter is demanding that those EPA officials provide answers, and soon. He joins us live. Senator, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Shannon. Good to be with you.
All right, we just talked about this in the context of Lois Lerner over at the IRS. We know there are others in the administration who've been accused of using dummy accounts or separate personal accounts to conduct official business. Why is that an issue?
Well, in the case of the EPA, we know it's happened in two different ways. A bunch of EPA officials, including Lisa Jackson, used personal email accounts, nothing to do with the government, and many of them, including Lisa Jackson, the former administrator, used fake names. It's a problem because it's a pattern that was clearly used to hide information from the public and from Congress. It just wasn't an accident that happened a few times. It was clearly a pattern, so that when something like a Freedom of Information Act request is made, please produce all your emails on a certain topic, they do that from the government account, and then they effectively hide the sensitive stuff that's in their personal account or dummy account. And that's a real issue. It's a pattern that's been going on across this administration.
Well, it is something that certainly concerned this judge, the possibility that these email accounts were being used specifically to skirt the public disclosure laws. I mean, he said now that this group, this conservative group that had sued, trying to get to this information, the EPA will have the right to question EPA officials in person and in writing. I know also you have sent a letter out to these folks saying it's time for them to cough up the truth about these emails. But Lisa Jackson is no longer the administrator at the EPA. How likely do you think it is that she is going to respond to any of these requests?
Well, we're going to go after it because the public has a right to know. We've been working on this for months. And again, it's a big deal because it's clearly a pattern used to hide important, sensitive information from the public and from Congress. And generally what's being hidden is a very cozy relationship between this EPA and far-left environmental groups. A lot of alliances and scheming, if you will, going on about how they're going to advance their left agenda through the regulatory administrative process.
If Lisa Jackson does not answer your request or these other officials, are we talking subpoenas? What's the next step?
We're going to take it a step at a time, but if it comes to that, yes, we would certainly look at that tool. Now, over on the Senate side, we're not going to be able to do that because the chairs of the committee, who are all Democrats, have that subpoena power. But I've been working a lot with House colleagues who have that tool available, so certainly we would look at that if necessary.
Regardless of administration, how concerned should the average American be about this type of behavior by any administration, by any agency? Because FOIA requests, Freedom of Information Act, we're shorthanding it, but that was meant to make sure that there is some sunshine, there is some sunlight into government operations and how they work. So how concerned should the average American be about this?
Folks should be very concerned. You're exactly right. The whole purpose of several laws, including the Freedom of Information Act, is to shine sunlight on the system and let the public have reasonable information. And when that is not just skirted by accident in a few instances, but when there's a pattern of behavior, several different practices designed to frustrate that, that's a big deal. I'll give you another example, Shannon. We have an email from within the EPA, the counsel's office, the chief lawyer's office, to a regional office, delineating ways they can frustrate the FOIA process. In other words, this is what we do to frustrate the FOIA process on a regular basis. That is a big, big problem.
Well, to be clear, EPA policy does explicitly forbid the use of non-EPA government accounts for business purposes. So please keep us updated if you get a response, and we'll keep tabs on the story. Senator, thank you.
Absolutely, Shannon. Thank you.